Hello, and welcome to the Golf for Beginners podcast. Today we're going to talk about the biggest myth about the golf swing that are so misunderstood on golf courses all around the world.
Welcome to the Golf for Beginners podcast, your essential guide to mastering golf fundamentals. Whether you're a beginner golfer or a seasoned player looking to refine the basics, join us as we teach you everything about the fundamentals of swing technique, course management, equipment, rules, and how to practice. Today's host is none other than the award-winning PGA golf instructor Nikolaj Sæthe Engström, CEO of the biggest golf teaching business in Denmark and founder of Golf for Beginners Academy.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Golf for Beginners podcast. My name is Nikolaj Sæthe Engström, and I'm going to be a golf instructor today. And today we're going to talk about a super important topic. We're going to talk about probably the biggest myth that you will hear around golf courses all over the world. And it's a myth that are meant to be a good tip from one golfer to another, but usually it causes way more issues than it actually fixes things. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the most common advice on golf courses, which will be keep your head down. And this will be said from one golfer to another after maybe the golfer hit a really bad shot and the playing partners want to cheer him or her up and maybe try and help a little bit with a nice swing tip. And then the usual tip is you gotta keep your head down. That's why you're not hitting the ball correct. And it's very important for me to say that this tip it's usually given in the best possible way, and it's only because people they want to help their playing partners, and that's one of the things I love the most about this game, that people they really want to try and help the best way they can. But the tip about keeping your head down, it comes from of course a little bit of lack of understanding of the actual golf technique. And if you try to keep your head down, it will usually actually worsen some of the tendencies that might cause the bad strikes. So let's dive into the actual technique of this tip. So let's paint a scenario here. You're on the fairway. You hit a nice drive. You're standing on the fairway. You're about to hit a 7-iron toward the green, and then you hit the ball, and you hit it on top of the ball. So you hit it way too high up. The ball jumps a little bit and rolls 20, 30 meters or yards ahead of you. And of course, it's super frustrating. And your playing partner tells you you looked up, you didn't keep your head down, and you think, well, that makes sense. That's probably why I hit it on top, because I looked up too early. And then you try and keep your head down, and then different things happen. If you keep your head down after you hit the golf ball, and this is super important, because yes, you are supposed to look at the golf ball. You're supposed to keep your head in the exact same position until you hit the golf ball. At the exact second you hit the golf ball, the head is supposed to rotate up and actually look for the golf ball. Okay, so the timing is of course important here. We don't want to look up way before we hit the golf ball. You do actually see some professional players do it. Annika Sørenstam, probably the best female golfer that has existed, or one of the best. She actually didn't really look at the ball when she hit the golf ball. Her head was rotated towards the target, or more towards the target when she hit the golf ball. So you don't really have to look at the golf ball when you hit it. But of course, you should not lift your head and rotate it up way before you reach the golf ball. That will usually cause some issue. But the reason for a lot of, especially beginners, they're not hitting the golf ball well, and especially if they're topping the golf ball, that's not because they hit up. In my 10 years of teaching, I think I've seen it twice, that somebody actually looked up way too early. And I've given quite a lot of golf lessons. The number one reason for people hitting on top of the golf ball is the structure in the arms. Okay, if you listen to some of the other episodes, I already talked about it. But when you hit the golf ball, you want both arms to be straight in the moment of impact, and after impact, you still want the arms to be straight. So what happens for most people is that if you're a right-handed player, the left arm will bend when you swing down towards the ball. If the left arm bends in the downswing, that is going to lift the club off the ground. So you're basically making the distance down to the golf ball too short. So the club head is now raised above the ball and above the ground. And that is why you're topping the golf ball. It is usually not because you're looking up too early. The issue with the tip of keeping your head down is that if you keep your head down for way too long. So if you keep your head down also after you hit the golf ball, okay, then it's super, super difficult for your body to extend and rotate in the follow through. Okay, so if you imagine you're standing over the golf ball and you're only thinking about keeping your head down, if you keep your head down, actually also usually your head will actually drop towards the ground, which will cause the distance to the golf ball to become different. So if your head is dropping towards the golf ball, that's an issue. You're getting too close to the ground. Also, if you keep on focusing down on the ground after you hit the golf ball, as I said, the body can't rotate, the body can't extend. If your body can't rotate and extend right after you hit the golf ball, the club head still needs to travel forward. And if your body's not rotating, your left arm can't be straight. Okay, your left arm is going to collapse because your body's not rotating. When your left arm is collapsing, as we talked about, that's going to lift the club head off the ground. And the thing about this tip is that it usually gets worse and worse because you think more and more about keeping your head down, about not moving your head, which limits your rotation even more, which makes your left arm collapse even more. And now we have a very bad downward spiral, and it's going to be super tricky to get out of this if you keep on focusing, keeping your head down. Okay, so I hope that really makes sense for you, that it's usually not because you look up too early that you hit on top of the golf ball. It's way more often because your left arm is collapsing too early in the downswing. So what I really want to try and do here is I want to try and rephrase this very popular tip that's given on the golf courses. So most people, they would say keep your head down or you looked up. Okay, let's rephrase it to something else. Let's rephrase it to, keep your head in a steady position during the golf swing. What do I mean by this? I mean that your neck is allowed to rotate. Okay, so your head is actually allowed to tilt a little bit both ways, especially when you look for the ball. The head should tilt way out towards the golf ball. So this is the tilt of the neck, or the rotation of the neck. Yeah, but the position of your head, where it is relative to the golf ball, that shouldn't really change. So you shouldn't move your head up or down. You shouldn't move it from side to side or back or forth or anything like that. That is going to change the body's position relative to the golf ball. Okay, the neck is allowed to tilt and rotate, but your head is not allowed to move up or down or right or left or back and forth. So instead of saying, let's keep your head down, why don't we say, keep your head in a steady position, and then let's add, I think your arm was maybe a little bit bent if you hit on top of the ball. So keep your head in a steady position with a straight left arm during the whole swing. I promise you that is going to help your golf game a lot more than thinking about keeping your head down for too long. I hope that made sense for you. Give it a try the next time you're on the driving range. Maybe actually try and hit a few balls where you really keep your head down for the whole golf swing. See what that does to your left arm. It's going to make the left arm collapse earlier and earlier, and it's going to be super tricky to hit the golf ball. So allow your head to rotate with the ball, then your body can rotate and extend, then your left arm can be straight, and then your strikes, they should improve a lot. Alrighty, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't remember to jump over to golfforbeginners.academy. It's a website where there's a bunch of articles and videos, and you can also find a lot of other podcast episodes about common swing faults for beginner golfers. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again in the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of the Golf for Beginners podcast. We hope you found valuable tips and inspiration to enhance your golf journey. Remember, whether you're a novice or a seasoned player, there's always room for improvement. For more in-depth resources, tutorials, and a supportive community, head over to our website at golfforbeginners.academy. There, you'll find a wealth of information to elevate your game. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with your fellow golf enthusiasts. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and enjoy this lovely game.